I'm just playing. I
that.
play too much. Okay, welcome and welcome back to the podcast where we are who we say we are, and that is Real, Dope, and Redeemed. I am your host, Albertine. I am super excited for today's episode. I have one of my good friends with me. Man of God, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Arnold. This is an amazing person.
Thank you. All right, so I'm super duper excited. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's a beautiful Sunday, living here in this beautiful sunny place. And it's been a good weekend. It's been a good time. Been blessed. I mean, I always say that, but I feel like it's been a great time as of lately.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear. So we have a few icebreaker questions. The first one is, what old person thing do you do?
It's a couple of things, but something I didn't realize is an old person thing. People always call me out on and saying, "Oh my days," and
Oh my days.
yeah. But I've always said that. I feel like it's a number of phrases I say that people are like, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
So I think that's something old people think I do.
Yeah. I shake my head at these kids. First of all, I refer to them as these kids. I'd be these
like
kids.
12 years younger, but yeah, literally.
Okay, next one. Who is your favorite cartoon character?
That's tough. That's tough.
That is a tough one. I thought of a random character while I wrote that question.
I grew up on Cartoon Network, so that's tough. I'm gonna cop out and go with my favorite superhero, who's the Flash.
Okay.
He was my favorite from the Justice League comic book show.
Okay, Flash. I thought of number 5 from Kids Next Door.
What a time.
What a time.
What a time.
That was some good representation.
Kids don't have it the same way today.
Man. Okay, and the last one, if my phone would stop unlocking, what was your dream job as a kid?
It was actually a couple. I feel like firefighter was one of them. Crazy. At one point for a while, pastor was one of them. I don't want to say dream job. That was when I was
Really?
That's when I was a little kid. Because so often I would be, at the end of church when the pastor's at the shaking everybody's hands.
Yeah.
That would be me right next to the pastor shaking everybody's hand. Little 4 or 5-year-old shaking everybody's hand.
Wow, I've never heard that answer.
Yeah, that's when I was a youth. Other than that, my dream job had to do with something in technology and computers because I love them, man. Well, I guess that's where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's what's up. So, first of all, while I have the opportunity, thank you so much for being a day one supporter of not just Real, Dope, and Redeemed, but of me. This is one of my good friends, always encouraging me. And look at us now on the episode. I'm so excited.
I'm glad. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for showing up last minute because I literally texted you 3-4 days ago, hey, I'm going to be in your city.
Anything for gifting.
Thank you. So the first question I want to ask you is, when you hear Real, Dope, and Redeemed, the title of the podcast, what do you think of? What does that mean to you?
So, for me specifically, I hold on to that real part and redeem because it's not perfect people. I feel like too often people think, I'm Christian, I'm going to be perfect. And even then people think when you're redeemed that now everything's going to be sweet. But it's like, no, you talk more about real life. And especially for people our age, it's not always sweet, but there's a lot of good to it, and I'm learning from my peers. So
yeah,
that's what I gravitate to, especially the dope part, because I mean,
it's given. It's given. What's understood ain't got to be explained.
Come on.
But yeah, with redeemed, I love the word in itself because God is our redeemer, and in calling yourself redeemed, you're confessing that you weren't always perfect and you're still not perfect. That's literally what the word is. So yeah, thank you for that. So tell us a little bit about your faith journey, your upbringing, and where you are now, how you got here.
Let's see. I have a devout Christian mother who, what do people say? I was prayed for. I've been prayed for my entire life. My siblings, my family, we are prayed for. So I don't have. But I can't not do well in life because I know there's a lot put in to get me to this point. So I'm thankful with everything, and I've learned very quickly through high school, especially throughout college, and now that life I don't want to say it's perfect, but life is a lot better when I'm doing it God's way instead of my way. So that's a lot of where I'm at now today, reminding myself like, all right, you gotta stay out of that to do what's best for me, not just for me, which took me a while to learn. My decisions affect the people around me and my future and whoever is to come after me. So the more I'm closer with God, the better life is for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's a beautiful perspective. Just last episode I was thinking about how like there's kind of like this like war on religion where, well, that's what I'm referring to it as, but basically it's kind of like the movement of I'm not Christian, I have a relationship with God, which I get why that started, but I think it kind of, when we take it too far, it's kind of like the whole self-care movement where it's me, I, and we kind of forget that, okay, this walk with God, it's not just for me and my salvation, it's for everyone around me.
I heavily agree.
Yeah, and we also become a witness of it, because when you start changing your life and living for God, before you know it, the people around you start like, just being inspired by that, and that's what we're supposed to do.
That part.
So how does your faith show up in other spaces? You just mentioned how it affects everyone around you. So how does that affect like your relationship with your family, your friends, in your career, in your creative spaces? How does faith show up?
So like, I clock people will wonder, or like people will want to see and know why are you the way you are, and I am because God. I am the way I am
because of the I am. Because of the I am. We love a good wordplay.
But like I know that for a fact that so much of how I end up operating, especially externally, when people see me, is because I'm blessed. So like I know so much of what I have, so much what I am, and the people in my life is because I'm blessed and because God has blessed them. So I try to carry myself in a way that best portrays that to the best of my ability, because I'm not always great. But so I feel like my interactions with people tend to be positive. Something I don't tell people, I haven't said that out loud, at least not to the public, is my biggest goal in life, at least when I was young and still today, is to positively impact each and every person I interact with in my life at least once, and that can impart some good on them, because you never know who's having a bad day, you never know who's having a bad year. So that's how I try to carry myself, and it took me a while to realize it was because of my faith that's how I operate every day. So that's like the main way. Every interaction I have to at least give a positive impact. The basketball court is a different story. We're working on that.
Wow, that was making me tear up a little bit, only because I am a recipient of the goodness God has placed in you. Like, I can't even get deep into that because I will get emotional, but if you never do a single thing in this life, you have impacted my life in a way that I find hard to put in words sometimes. Like, no, for real. That makes me laugh. So anybody who knows you or follows you on social media sees that you post a Bible verse every single day. And this has been for years. I know some of y'all be happy about your 30-day streaks. Like, this man, I think the app is paying him at this point. No, but I'm just really curious how that started and how you stay consistent.
Oh man, I find this unique because this came up like gradually more like in the recent years. There's no like crazy secret behind it. I started doing that solely for me to make sure I'm praying every morning, or like make sure, at least regardless of how I've been in that season, that month, that year, whenever. The one thing I want to make sure I do is at least pray every morning. That way, however far I go, I at least was doing that, and I'm continuing to do that. And then at one point, I'm like, I'm not posting for anybody else. Like it never occurred to me like somebody who's reading these verses. To me, I'm like, I need to make sure I'm reading the verse every day. And the way I was consistent with that is by posting it, tweeting it, and then saying a prayer every day for myself. At the very least, giving thanks. So that was the main thing. And then the more time that there's 2 times I've taken a fast from social media, and I've seen some like, where's Arnold? And then more specifically, like at least 3 people DM me like, thank you for your verse that you tweet every day, because it reminds me to pray. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, hold on. I eventually now, because people would retweet or like, that I would notice that people are actually reading it, but when people would send me down, I'm like, dang, now I feel like I can't stop. Yeah, because now people are looking forward to it. But it was solely just for me to... like your accountability. Yeah, my own accountability. So the funny thing about that is,
I loved it when I first realized you were doing it. So one time I was like, I'm gonna do that, right? So I started doing it for like a week or two, and then God was like, you can keep that. No, for real. He was like, you can keep that, because my heart wasn't for me to spend my time with him. It was just purely to share it.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and God's relationship is very black and white. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to fake anything. It's like, if you're not doing it in the background, why are you posting it just to show it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now it's like, if I do anything, of course, like, my heart's genuinely in it. But I feel like it was one of those moments where God was like, I don't want just like just like my name in your bio, but you don't know me personally. I feel like that's what I was doing when I was trying to imitate that. But still very inspirational. And I love that it started with you. It was never about anybody else. And it just turned into really your own form of ministry. Like, sometimes you never know if that's like the only glimpse of God or the Bible that somebody sees in a day, and yeah, I love that he placed that in you. The climate as a Christian today is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably always been interesting.
That's a good word, though.
It's probably always been interesting. But what a time to be alive. How is it being a young Black Christian male today?
Young Black Christian male.
Mm-hmm.
It's a number of things. I get antsy about when people say the universe.
Mm-hmm.
To each their own. I'm not here to judge people, but I don't want to say offended, but I'm like, you're saying the universe, but who or what is the universe?
Mm-hmm.
That's that. But then the black man it's a lot to it. But I feel like because I'm Christian, it makes it slightly easier to be a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And then the young factor, there's a lot of influence on us. So I feel like being intentional about what is influencing us is important. But man, that's a good point. That's a good question, because it's a lot to wrestle with, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of layers. Do you ever find it difficult though, like navigating life, or like do you feel like your faith is so firm that you're like, I'm good regardless?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's a good point, because sometimes I'll be upset, or like it took me a while to realize what set apart means, and still fully grasping it for myself. But I know, like, I would get upset, like, man, why can't I go have fun in this way, or go do these things that my peers are doing? Yeah. But anytime I would, not to say I don't like going out or having fun in a certain way, but it occurs to me that those things legitimately do not sit right with me. At least for me personally, like, I will not feel good after the fact, whatever those things may be. So I'm like, all right, I guess that's what set apart me. Like, that I'm not meant to be doing those things. Yeah, I'm meant to be a certain way and carry myself a certain way. So I'm telling you. Yeah, it can be tough. And
God's been like that since the beginning of time. Like, he's like, y'all are mine. Y'all can't do that. And that's what all the laws of Moses or the Leviticus laws were. It's like, purely because God is so territorial over us that he wants people to look at us and know that we are his. And it's like, dang, if they do it, it's cool. Nothing happens. But if I do it, yo. I mean, but it's an honor. It really is that he chose us. So another thing about the young Christian climate is this whole, I don't know if guys get the same pressure or if male Christian groups have the same relationship questions and conversations. But on the female side, the women cannot stop talking about their future husbands. Is it the same with the guys, or are y'all more like?
I think it heavily depends on your friend group, but also which friends you're specifically talking about. So, I mean, I wouldn't say pressure, because I feel like in general, at least me, we have an idea of like, oh, she'll come regardless. But we do have those conversations of like how she could be or how she would be. But I think more often than not, it's from a perspective of what we've already experienced or who we've already seen or would like to be with, versus a general idea of that perfect spouse. Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of your, I don't know, I guess, like, what are you looking for as a young Christian man? Like, when you are dating or courting a woman, like, is faith something you bring up right away? Is it a deal breaker? Because I know some people who identify as Christian are okay dating outside of their religion, and others aren't.
It got important, because I will not lie. When I was in high school, I did date a Muslim girl, and I remember specifically I tweeted something about reading the Bible verse. And then she like kind of got on me about it, and that's no knock to her, but for me, I acknowledge the fact that that's far too important. Yeah. If I can't do that, it's like, dang, What are we doing here? So that faith, I won't bring it up initially, but I would have already clocked it. Like I would have already known.
Exactly.
So I probably wouldn't have gravitated towards outside of the fact. I know there was somebody I tried to talk to who I thought was Christian, but then they were more spiritual. And I was like, all right.
So if she's fine, she's praying to the rocks, you can't go. That's basically
I
what we're
respectfully teach them, but I cannot go. I can't go.
I hear you. And like, I've really been like having an issue with that, with people being spiritual. I feel like every faith is spiritual, right? So my thing is like, put a name on it, like be specific, like, and like, that's why, like, even when I say like I love God, I always say the Jesus God, because y'all like to call a lot of things, like, let's be very clear, the one and only living God. Like, I don't play about that, like, because it's like people like to be like, oh, I'm spiritual. Like, a lot of them are confused, and like I genuinely don't judge, because I've been there. Like, a lot of people don't know. Excuse me. A lot of people don't know, in my faith journey, there was like 2 or 3 years where I just was hands off the Bible. I was questioning everything. I was borderline agnostic, you know? So like, I've had every single question there is to ask. I've gone through the runaround, so I don't judge anybody for where they are. But I just feel like when people try to have like that blurred line between, oh, all these things can be as one, it's like, no, like this, you know what I'm saying? There's a very fine line. I think that's why Christians kind of get a bad rep, because we are called to be set apart. And, you know, like, there are certain things we just can't do. And people look at that as us judging. But it's like, a lot of times we've been there. And like you said, my life is so much better when I go God's way. Like, I've been saying recently, like, my life has not been easy, but it's been a lot easier when I can just, thank you, God, when I can just take my hands off it, I know He got me. So, yeah, is there anything else, anything on your heart, anything you want to talk about? That was all my questions.
I'm going to just say, like, Gifty is a blessed person. I think about people of, like, I have friends and I have people who I don't have to come to them for something, but by the time I even asked to get prayed for, like, you had already started. Yeah. So that means so much to me. I remember one day you made me cry because you tweeted something about praying for me, and said in tears, I'm like, oh my gosh. So this it's a lot here.
Thank you.
And I'm thankful for it.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for doing this episode. If you haven't already, like, comment, and share. And yeah, thank you for coming.
Of course.
Thank you for being who you are. Thank you, God.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it.